Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morrisman. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to title this. Something along the lines of ever-changing world. And of course, the world continuously changes and evolves. And you can only hope that the evolution is a positive one and a productive one, as opposed to digressing or I used to get this, now I don't get this anymore and I'm paying more, And I'm just going to share some things with you guys, and feel free to share some of your observations of how things are now versus how they used to be. And this is not an older guy ranting about the good old days. It's just you're concerned about how things progress, and they're supposed to progress, not digress. Instead of, I don't get this anymore. Instead of, it should be, but nothing's perfect. It should be you get more now. It's like, okay, I get more now. I pay more, but I get more. Or what I'm getting is worth the increase of value that I pay. And I guess I'm going to start off with my car. The guys that have been working on my car, my mechanics for over 7 years, really good guys, very productive guys. They got good mechanics, but the pandemic has also kind of hurt a lot of businesses, and they had my car for over a month. Charged me $1,600 to fix the repair. That's the most I've ever had to pay for the car. And I keep my car well maintenance. I don't be riding around with stuff missing or, it needs to be fixed. I'll get it fixed later. And then a $300 problem becomes a $1,000 problem because of my neglect of just kind of not trying to handle it in a timely manner. So take the car in for an entire month. And I keep going up there. I said, when y'all guys gonna finish my car, man? We kind of backed up. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because they good guys, really. I consider them friends just as much as me consider myself a good customer. So I'm gonna make a long story short with that. So had my car for over a month. It took them, when they finally got around to fixing it, took them less than a day and a half. So I'm like, okay, you had my car for 30 days and it only took 2 days to get it fixed. I would have wished that they would have just done this, because they eventually told me, they said, well, we just don't have any mechanics now. I'm like, in light of that information, wouldn't it have been a good idea to share that information with me to say, Morrisman, we just don't have a mechanic right now. So please come get your car and have it serviced somewhere else, because we don't want you, your car, to just be sitting in our unsecure, ungated lot. That's what should have happened, but it didn't happen. So I get the car back. The next day, I noticed that there's a serious amounts of oil dripping, and my car did not have any oil leaks or oil issue leaks before I took it up there. How I know that? Because my driveway told me there's no oil spots in my driveway until I get the car back. So this was my assumption, and then after I was able to test my assumption on my theory, I was right. I said whoever had to get my car or took care of my cars, because they was having guest mechanics, they didn't finish. It's like they just didn't finish the job. So I took it to another guy. I had to pay almost $200 to finish off the repair that the first guy should have done for $1,700. And he told me, see, they didn't put the oil clamps back in when they did what they did. That's why you were leaking a lot of oil, So it was the fact that the other guys, the first guy's mechanic, half did the job. And I'm most likely not going to see my $200, for the second repair. I'm just going to leave it alone because I'm tired. You go through periods where you're mentally exhausted because people are not doing what they're supposed to do. I don't hold anybody to an extremely high level of perfection. I just want you to simply do what you're supposed to do. And the stuff that I'm expecting is simple. It's not difficult, but just lately, it's just been like that. And I'm like, today I suppose they got up to, I guess, follow behind somebody else. I'm like, you know what, fuck this. I'm tired. I'm not going to get up after only 2 hours of sleep in the day and follow behind somebody that's supposed to just do what they're supposed to do, And I'm like, I'm not nobody's father but one child on this planet. And I'm just tired. I'm like, I do what I'm supposed to do. When people expect shit from me, they get it. And if they don't, they get a notification within a timely manner, so we can either have you go somewhere else or this is when it's going to get done. And just for like the last 2 months, I've been mentally and physically exhausted because of this shit. People that's just not doing what they supposed to do. I'm gonna share another story. Then I'm gonna sign off. I went to the pawn shop yesterday, and I did a video on pawn shops about maybe 5 years ago. How they're not the way that they used to be. Back in the day, the pawn shops were owned by older guys that worked there, and they can tell you about every single piece of equipment or article in their store, whether it's guitars, jewelry, cameras, TV. They can tell you, and they handle the process quite differently, because back then, if you want to pawn stuff, if you had a TV you wanted to pawn, you better have a remote because they're not gonna take it in if you don't. If you had a guitar, you better have a guitar case. They're just not going to let you bring a guitar in there with no case in there, and then it sits in their back room for a year, and then they get all fucked up and bow on you. Computers, you better have the plug, so we can turn it on to make sure it works, okay? And once you give us those things, we're not going to lose them in the back room, and then it's time to sell these items. They don't know where the plug is at, So I go in there yesterday. And they had another Toshiba, because my Toshiba, and I should have brought it in here, it's literally duct taped together. The screen has separated from the base. And the reason why I'm still keeping and trying to keep it alive as long as possible, the way that the screen resolution is, it's easy on my eyes. All the new ones are bright as hell. I'm like, I need sunglasses to sit here in front of this computer. And someone will allow you to adjust it, but it's still just not good enough. And some won't even allow you to adjust it. I don't understand what that's about. So, that's the reason why I still got the old one that I have, my workhorse, because this resolution is perfect for me. Because again, all the ones now just super bright. So I went to the pawn shop. Hopefully I can get another one. I'm like, okay, it's still a buying them off eBay, and when they show up, the screen's too bright, and I can't determine that until I actually physically see it. So I went up there, seen the Toshiba, a newer model, and it ain't on. I'm looking for the power supply, and I asked the work employee, we don't have the power supply. So how the fuck am I supposed to test it? I just supposed to just buy a computer with a black ass screen, and it don't come on, the battery charger, or the battery's there. So I said, I got one at home. So I went home, which I didn't have to do. Bring one of my cords, plug it in. It comes on, and the display is kind of hard to determine because since they don't have the internet, I'm like, the majority of my viewing on my computer is checking my email and being on eBay. Being on YouTube. So I'm like, if I could just test that right now, that'd be good. But I can't because they don't have the necessary equipment or whatever to have me thoroughly test this thing. So I bought it, taking a gamble, and it fell terribly because I get home, it won't even allow me to adjust the display. It's like somebody disarmed it deliberately. I'm like, why would they do that? Every other command is there, fonts, and then it has these little categories for fonts, power source or whatever. I get the display, it just says display and shit under there. And then when I click on the little thing or point to it, it has a little hand, which indicates that I can execute a command. By clicking on it, I click on the shit. I showed it to my wife. I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not the only one that sees this and I'm not making this up. She said, no, we can't get in here. And once we found the way to get in there to adjust it, it didn't even change. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? I'm just fucking tired. I'm like, I pay for shit that I don't get. So I'm like, it's not a big deal. I only paid about $150. I can always give it to somebody or whatever. So when I was there, they had some bikes, and I just paid $200 for a bike to simply do this. When I told you guys that, my mechanic, failed me miserably as far as resolving my issue, I had to take it to another mechanic. And where he was, it was too far to walk and kind of close for a cab. So I said, fuck, I'm just going to buy a bike, put it in my car, drive my car over to the second mechanic, and then wrap my bicycle home, which I did. I had to pay $200 to do that shit. When I shouldn't even have been there in the first place because I paid the first guys to finish the job, to fix the job, which they didn't. So I didn't pay $200 giving away just for a bicycle ride back and forth. So I seen a couple of other bikes at the pawn shop, and they were only like $50. I'm like, it'd be nice to have two bikes. So I went to Menards this morning, spent $40 on accessories. I'm like, cause this bike is maybe a tad bit big, so I'm gonna have to take off the wheels and separate and put it in the car. So I spent $50 in Menards to do that. Then I get there, and I guess I didn't check, but I'm like, I should really have to have done this or check this. So I get there, and they got three bikes. And I'm like, two of them are durable. I'm like, if I don't like this one, I can just get this one. So I get there, as soon as they open, and I look at the bike, I realize all three of them are on flats. All three of them are on flats. Y'all can't even fix the bike to be rideable ready, and you're trying to sell it? It's like they just take shit out the back room that's half fixed and just put it out on the display and hope somebody might buy it. I'm like, if I ran this pawn shop, shit like that wouldn't happen, And I'm not knocking the people that run it, because they're nice people and they mean well. And here is the problem. I don't think nobody in that store, and it was at least 3 or 4 of them, are over 29 years old. Where's the 45-year-old manager? Where's the old guy, or the older guy, instead of the apprentice that is still learning the business, but you didn't just thrust them into management position, and they're not ready for this. Again, this is not a knock against them. They're just not ready for that. When I was 24 years old, I wasn't ready to be the manager of the store. I'm like, shit, no. I'm still learning from a 45-year-old dude, And I don't see that. Again, all of these are youngsters, and they didn't train these people well because, again, going back to the old pawn shops, the guys at the store, they knew the value of everything, and they made sure that everything was maintained. I go in there, all the bikes on flats. Half of the PCs don't have the original cord. The guitars, don't even ask me about those. 99% of them, with the exception of one guitar stand, the action's all jacked up because the neck fucked up, because the necks needs to be adjusted from the truss rod. They didn't rolls from all that shit dangling from a ceiling for about 6 months without no guitar bag in the heat. So all of that is trash. I mean, literally garbage. There are no amplifiers so you can plug in the guitar to play it. Because at least, when I sell my guitars to you guys, of course, you can't play it right now because I got it here. But I show you videos of me playing it, and I have a history of playing good guitars with good action because I'm a professional musician. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm not just some guy that got a guitar in the corner that somebody gave him or sold to him or gave to him. It's been sitting there and the neck then bowed on you and the strings are wail out there, But I just become very frustrated because I'm like, I'm just expecting people to do what they're supposed to do. That's it. My standards or expectations for you are not through the roof. Just a simple execution of something simple. But I'm not getting that because, like I said, I get up there today because I'm like, if I would have known that there was no air in the tires, I wouldn't even got up this morning. I had 3 hours of sleep. I would have not got the fuck up this morning. It's like, oh, well, I would just turn back over. But I'm just starting to see this, and I'm like, it's not me. You say to yourself, man, am I just too hard on everybody? No, it ain't me. Matter of fact, it's just the opposite. I'm not really hard on anybody, But I just thought I would share that with you guys as far as, what is your day like? What has your month been like? Has everything ran smoothly? And here's another thing. And again, this is not complaint, it's just an observation. I would say the 6 times within the period of maybe 2 months that I go to the fast food, because I don't eat that much garbage. I do treat myself sometime, me and the missus, because you don't want to just say I'm gonna shut everything down, because then you get the cravings, and then you're holding out for a week, and then you go on a binge. But I'll say 5 times out of the 6 times that I went and placed a real simple order. I don't make it complicated for people as far as give me this, not much of that, give me extra this. I make it simple so you remember that, and then you're supposed to write it down anyway. I'll say 5 times out of 6 times I went to order for fast food, and I'm watching. I'm like, are they gonna give you my complete order today? No pop. Or we gave you less fries. Or it's like, how simple is that to just place an order and then fill it? I know I don't expect nobody to have total recall to remember everything. That's why you write that shit down and then you look at it. Okay. He asked for a small, medium perch. Here's his fry. Here's his slaw. Here's his pot. We done with you. And still up, I'm watching them. And then they hand me off a bag with minus my pop and something else. Because I'm watching them not put my shit in the bag. You know. And I even had one lady, and this is just ridiculous. It's this place that for some reason, it's a good thing for them. It's just been a surge of people coming up. And them like last year before the pandemic, I come in there and be like 2 people. You know, I get out here. Now I come in, the line is out the door. And that's wonderful for them. It's like somebody took a bunch of people and just dumped them over here. And so I go in there, I'm sitting there waiting. I don't leave the store because I'm like, I don't want them to call me. I'm not here. So I'm going to sit my ass right here. So I get up to the counter because people in front of me had getting their order. I'm like, what the fuck is my order? So I go up there and I show her my ticket. I'm like, ma'am, I didn't get my order yet. And I gave her the ticket. And she said, this is not your ticket. I'm like, what you mean this ain't my ticket? This is what you gave me. I remember this ticket. So what she was implying was I switched out tickets for somebody else, which doesn't make any sense. Why would we do that? And she gave my order to somebody else. I'm like, I've been sitting here, and there's a guy that sells DVDs, and he vouched for me. He's like, that man been here the whole time. He ain't left. So he ain't picked up no order. No, he ain't left. So I don't know what was that about. I'm like, so I switched out tickets, or you gave me the wrong ticket, which you did, and I seen, my order on the ticket she gave me. I had been in there for like 20 fucking minutes. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to minimize the time I come here because they do got good food. And what you have to do is you have to get there when they open. It get to that point because if you wait in the middle of the day, that line is outside. It's a small place, poorly ventilated. Hello, COVID. And then got some people coming in there that don't have their mask on, and the same people that don't have their mask on, they on the phone running their fucking mouth instead of keeping their mouth closed. They did the other day. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm waiting. Well, I'm not gonna get into extra personal business, but I'm waiting to make a move to remove myself from this. I'm going to the fucking woods. Really, I'm going somewhere isolated because I'm just tired. I'm tired of interacting with people that don't do what they supposed to do. Again, I'm not a taskmaster. I'm like, I paid you to fix my fucking car. You didn't. I had to take it to another guy who fixed it. I had to pay him. I had to spend $200 on the bike to get me back from taking my car to the second guy. And I had to buy that specific bike at that specific time because about a week ago, I ordered bikes for me and my wife. I'm like, we're going to start getting out to the park and riding our bikes. So I already paid for 2 bikes. Then I had to buy a 3rd bike on top of that because I needed it ASAP. I'm fucking tired. I can't wait till that time when I can get the fuck away from a bunch of people and having to interact. I'm going to fuck around and just become a recluse, a dude with a bunch of cats, But that's my rant for today, It shouldn't be the way that it is, but it is, Till next time, take care. Share some of your stories with me, Let me know why you having a fucked up day or fucked up week or fucked up month, and why it's not your fault. It's the people that you interact with that are not doing their job. Just that simple. Because I'm going to say this and sign off. When I went to that pawn shop, because I love pawn shops. I've been loving pawn shops as long as I can remember going to them because you don't know what you might find. Like when I found that $3,000 Martin guitar there. And they only wanted $400. Actually, it's about $500. They didn't know what they had. And that's rare because usually just the opposite. You get junk and they overcharge you. And I said to myself then, I'm retired. I would like to sometime come in here for free and fix their guitars so they're sellable. Because I'm like, you got junk right now. You got nobody in the store to know nothing about instruments. And all these fucking guitar necks are whooped. Strings way loud fucking here. I'm like, I would like to just fix these for free. Because I'm not a selfish person. And I thought about it, but, of course, they probably won't go for it. But they do need somebody there that has a little knowledge of something there. Because, again, like I said, the old pawn shops, those guys knew their jobs. They were not glorified cashiers, and that's all they are now in these new pawn shops. They're just cashiers. There's nobody that's an expert on the music equipment. There's nobody expert on the jewelry, the value of it. There's nobody expert on electronics, TVs, whatever, like they were 20 years ago. Those guys knew their craft. Now it's just somebody ringing up your order. That's all they know. That's it. They don't know anything about the items, and this should be more, this should be less. I don't know. I got the access to the internet, so let me spend maybe 20 minutes of my day and do some research, do some price comparison. Okay, this is what this is going for, so we'll put it down a little less so we can sell it. Half of them people don't know what the value of the stuff that they got in the store, and they work there. It's not good. And again, this is not an old guy ranting about the good old days and how it used to be. Regardless if it's the present or 40 years earlier, you just want things to be right. Ain't got nothing to do with time frame or time era, or era, or well, back then they knew and they don't now. Well, they need to know, they need to know. But I'm going to sign off now. I'm over the 20-minute mark. So leave me some comment, guys. Let me know how your world is, how things are going in your world. If everything is everything running like clockwork and smooth, or there's some glitches because the people in the chain that's just dragging their feet or don't know what the fuck they doing. And you got to sit here and wait till they figure this out. And once you realize that they can't, now you got to go to somebody else, because I'm pretty salty about the car. I'm like, man, if that was me, after 2 weeks of having somebody's car, I say a week, I would call them and say, here's the situation. We just don't have any mechanics right now, because of the pandemic and other things you kind of jumped off. So you might want to go check, come get your car and take it somewhere else. If something comes up, we'll call you. That's what should have been done. Still, my shit sat there for a month. I come up there every 4 days. I keep getting excuses. I'm trying to hang in there. I'm like, hey, these some good guys. So I'm going to try to stick with them doing bad times. But I got burned and didn't have to pay again another guy to finish off what they didn't do. I'm not happy right now. I'm not. I'm tired. Till next time.